2, 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3 on 312 26. We're ready to go. There's a lot to talk about today. But first of all, I just wanted to check in with you. How are you doing? How are you doing, by the way? It is intense, no doubt about it. We're all going through this constant day by day chaos. It seems like every day something traumatic is happening. So I just wanted to let you know that you're not alone, first of all, that millions and millions of people are experiencing what you're experiencing, and that the fact that you are staying attentive and alert, that you're keeping your head up, that you're focusing, that you're trying to both pay attention to what is happening and at the same time that you are actively working on pushing back against this authoritarianism, that is because, well, you're a really good person. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time. We're talking about me. I was yap, but you're doing good stuff. Let's tell you about some things here. Let's see. On March 12th, 1904, the investigative work of Ida Tarbell reached a critical peak as the public outcry from her serialized speech, The History of Standard Oil Company, forced a shift in national policy. Tarbell did not just report the news, she conducted a structural power analysis of J.D. Rockefeller's empire. She spent years investigating the secret deals and predatory pricing. I'm having real speech problems today. Of Standard Oil and its efforts to crush independent refineries. Her direct efforts and her direct fact reporting is credited with the eventual 1911 Supreme Court decision to dismantle the monopoly under the Sherman Antitrust Act. Why do I bring up this story? Well, because it is the hard work of finding, realizing, and then talking about the truth that actually results in change. So let's get to the change. I just want to take a quick break to ask you to please find us and subscribe on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We do have a lot of stories to talk about. You're going to look for The Ignition News. We're broadcasting live on TikTok. We're also on Substack, Twitch, trying to get another one up, but I can't figure it out. And of course, TikTok. While we can be live on TikTok. Let's go for that TikTok warning today. We've got a lot to talk about. The first story, of course, we're gonna back to Iran. And we know that we've replaced a Khamenei with a Khamenei. We've replaced an 86-year-old with a 56-year-old. And we now know that U.S. intelligence reporting is essentially saying that Iran's command and control and the core power structure of the country of Iran has essentially been unfazed by this attack, by $11.3 billion worth of war waging. And of course, at least 8 Americans dead. But we know that number is likely much higher. Unfortunately, the United States government is not being straightforward about how many casualties, how many deaths are happening. How do we know that? Well, we know it took 11 days for the United States government to talk about the first attack of the war. There was a significant attack on a base in Kuwait. We now know that at least 150 servicemen were seriously injured. And of course, the U.S. government was nowhere to be seen. I'm so sorry, but I have to fix something here. This is important that we get this right. And now the new leader of Iran is saying that the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed. So we've caused all of this damage. We've depleted our critical interceptor supply. We've put ourselves at risk. We put ourselves at risk of retaliatory strikes by Iran. We are crumbling what remains of our allyships and our relationships with the Gulf Coast states, who are now looking around as missiles are being lobbed at their hotel buildings, at their embassies, on their streets. We are seeing in real time, at least what we can see, the crumbling of this mythical bulletproof Iron Dome. The Iron Dome is looking more like Swiss cheese right now. We've done all of this. We spent almost $12 billion, at least. By the time we finish the show, we'll probably be at $12 billion. And we've accomplished nothing. We've killed a bunch of people. Iran, they remain intact. Well, I can't say we've accomplished nothing, can I? Of course. Why? Because oil prices are skyrocketing. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Did you see this video of the ships in flames? We are living in, it feels like we're living in end times. We've got black oil raining down from the sky on a city of 10 million people in Tehran. We've got boats the size of small cities bursting into flames in the Strait of Hormuz. Insurance companies unwilling to insure critical supplies, oil, liquid natural gas, fertilizer. This is a war without a plan. They went into a war without a plan. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ignition News. I'm so happy that you're here. Perhaps we know a little bit more about why that is. Our first story today, the president admitted that he fell asleep during a critical war planning session. Yesterday, he was in a rally in Kentucky. Now, why the current president needs to be doing rallies, remember that for later in the show. So he was at this massive rally that I will call a campaign rally. Ask yourself, why is the sitting president doing a campaign rally? Ask yourself that question. So he said during that meeting that he admitted he fell asleep. He was describing generals presenting him with a list of names for the military operation and that he was nodding off while they talked. He thought it was funny, and so did the crowd. So let's put this in context. They launched major combat operations on February 28th. 8 American service members have been killed. Atomic Hawk missile struck an elementary school, killing 175 people. Most of them were young girls. We now know that that was our fault. And he told a crowd of his quote-unquote supporters that he fell asleep during a meeting where they picked a name for the operation. Let me tell you how hopeless we are in this. They did a focus group of 14 swing voters who flipped from Biden to Trump. They were shown footage of the president nodding off in meetings. 11 of the 14 said that they had already heard about it. One said that not falling asleep is out of the ordinary, given his age. And that's from someone who voted for him. These are people that vote. Trump also admitted in a letter to Congress this week that he has no idea how this conflict is going to end, writing that it is, quote, not possible at this time to know the full scope and duration of military operations. This letter starts a 60-day clock, after which he needs congressional approval, or the war is going to have to end. Well, there you go. Makes a little bit more sense. The president fell asleep during a critical meeting, and now we're wondering why there's no strategy. And if you think, oh, well, there are people in control who can run this operation, there are people at the helm who will do the critical work. Go to Google and type Marco Rubio shoes, and you will see a picture of Marco Rubio wearing a set of shoes that is conservatively 3 to 4 sizes too large. Why? Because the president insists that all of the men in his cabinet and his administration and anywhere near him in the White House wears the same kind of shoes that he wears. I'm not kidding. The president insists. What kind of banana republic authoritarian shit is this, by the way? So he insists that they wear the same shoes. So go look it up right now. Go do a Google search. Marco Rubio shoes. I got to take a drink here. And so Trump orders Marco Rubio a pair of shoes that is conservatively 3 to 4 sizes too large, right? And a normal person would say, oh, thank you. These look great. How can I get these exchanged for my right size? Thank you so much. I know. Make a joke about your shoe size. I don't know. But no. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, puts on the fucking shoes 4 times too big for him and is walking around. Oh, thank you for the tiny diny. That's very nice of you. Someone on Spotify says, what the hell is a tiny diny? Anyways, this is my point. So many of those people who say, oh, it's normal for the president to fall asleep. Somebody gave me another thing. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. There's so much happening. I can't handle all this. Spotify, you're missing out here, but you can leave a comment. It's very much appreciated. So if you think that there's talented people running the show, they're such little babies that they can't even put on the right size shoes. But also be clear, this is an exercise in humiliation. I wouldn't be surprised if the president intentionally ordered little Marco shoes which were too big, simply to put him through the humiliation ritual, by the way, of wearing those fucking shoes. Meanwhile, your gas prices go up. Black rain falls from the skies in Iran. And the new leader of Iran, the son of a man we killed, who, by the way, we killed the new leader's wife and his daughter and a significant number of his relatives. Oh, yeah, we're going to come to a deal with this guy. Okay. Okay, well, the last time we said that we were going to come to a deal, we said, let's meet and have a deal. And then we bombed their leadership while we told them we were making deals. No one is going to sit down with the United States to make deals anymore. No one. But, the price of eggs. Of course, it's not just because of war that you are less safe. Let us talk about what else is happening. 60,000. Welcome to the Ignition News. Let's get into the next story. 60,000 TSA officials are showing up to work every single day without a paycheck. This has been happening since February 14th. So the people scanning your bags, making sure that you're safe, they are not getting paid. They have received their first $0 paycheck. Wait times have been extended from 20 minutes to 2 hours at airports, and now we have one of the highest call-out rates in TSA in history. Former TSA Administrator John Pistole warned this week that our adversaries notice when security is degraded. So not only are we unsafe because of this absolute disaster of a military operation, we're unsafe when we're flying, and now our adversaries are noticing this. And our elected officials are not moving the needle at all. We have lots of views about law enforcement on the Ignition News. But I got to say, the men and women who work at the TSA, that is not an easy job. So just the idea that you're doing that job, which is not easy, and now you're not getting paid for that job. Some of these people are having to go do side jobs. They're getting up at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning to go do TSA, staying up till 1 in the morning doing gig work just to keep the lights on. That is sad. That is sad. So let me close it out with my last story right now. I asked you a question earlier. Why was the president doing a campaign rally? The president in his second term. Why was he doing a campaign rally? Well, let's connect the dots, because these are not separate stories. The Save America Act. The Save America Act is a law designed to rig the midterms. It's not an accusation, by the way. The president literally said as much during a retreat with White House Republicans. Listen to what the president said. He said, "Every time I go out, Save America, sir, Save America Act. That is all they talk about." And separately, he has stated that if the Save America Act becomes law, Republicans would never lose a race. He's saying that out loud. He's admitting this is the thing he does. He says out loud what he's going to do all of the time. Here's what the bill actually does, by the way. It requires every American citizen to produce a birth certificate, a passport, or other proof of citizenship every time they register or re-register to vote. That is essentially going to require everyone to re-register to vote. That means 21 million Americans lack easy access to the documents they need to do this. I think of myself when I left. I used to live in North Dakota. I had to leave North Dakota. My house flooded. The last year I lived in North Dakota, I had to take a boat to my house. And I was like, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm done. When I left, I had to leave a lot of things. I just had to go. And a lot of the crucial information I needed, because I got disconnected from some of my family, I lost a lot of it. I had to reorder copies of my birth certificate. I defined my social security card. So you think of all these people impacted by natural disasters, or people who live in poverty, or people who work 80 hours a week, or people who just candidly, I'm sorry, but poverty is violence. Sometimes people who were raised in poverty were not given the structural access to, number one, the tools to have this information. People who constantly move back and forth because of the violence of poverty, or people who are unhoused, they deserve to vote. Are you to tell me that because someone is unhoused, they do not deserve to vote? But if you're living in a homeless encampment and the police come raid your homeless encampment and they bulldoze all of your property, forcing you to flee what little you have of a home at 6 o'clock in the morning, well, you might lose your birth certificate or your passport. And then you are disenfranchised from voting. This is millions of people. Now, listen, I actually might have a contrarian view on this. I actually think that I'm actually okay with things like provisional ballots. I'm okay with investing in security in our elections. Absolutely. I'm okay with things like auditing ballots. I think that's a great idea. I think that if you have a city of a million people counting votes, you absolutely should randomly audit 10,000 of those votes. Yeah, I'm down for that. I think we should have done that in 2024. We should have pulled 10,000 ballots from every city over a million people and conducted a random audit. And we should have seen, does this match up? The physical ballot, does it match up with what we learned about this election? But to turn someone away and say, no, you can't vote. Not even a provisional ballot. A provisional ballot, by the way, what they do with provisional ballots is they say, okay, you didn't have the necessary information to cast your vote today, so you are going to cast this vote. It's going to be put in a provisional status. It will technically count. In situations where it has to count, we may need to take additional steps to verify your information. That's a provisional ballot. That's a very quick overview of what a provisional ballot is. And each state and situation has different conditions for provisional ballots. But now, if we're not even going to give provisional ballots, that's sick. That's disgusting. That's what countries like Iran do. The countries we bomb, or Iraq, or Russia. Listen, I'm all about, you want to do a national holiday for voting? I love that. Make it illegal to open your business on election day. I love that idea. Incentivize people to vote. I get it. You can't pay people to vote, that kind of thing. But you can offer them a paid day off. If you have a business of over 50 people, you have benefited from the infrastructure of this country. Who is calling me? I swear to God. During the show. Rude. I got to remember to turn off DND. Totally sidetracked. The point is, I think every American, every good faith American says, yeah, let's audit our elections. Let's make sure that they line up. Let's make sure we have security. If we're going to ask people to verify their information, let's make that as easy as humanly possible. If you've registered to vote, you shouldn't have to re-register to vote. That's stupid. Sure, let's have a federal holiday for Election Day, a paid federal holiday for Election Day. Let's arrest people. We're talking about arresting people for voter fraud. Let's arrest business owners who don't give their fucking employees the day off. You want to change this country? That's what you fucking do. You make it a federal holiday to go out and vote. You open up every possible place. You give tax credits to places that make it easier. Whatever you got to do. I don't know. There's so many things you can do. That's the whole thing. This is my whole point. If you wanted to make it a great democracy, you would tear down every barrier possible to encourage voting. But that's not what they're doing. They are making it harder, exponentially harder to vote. Now the president is holding the SAVE Act as ransom. Pass the SAVE Act or nothing else happens. So how do these stories tie together? You have a new leader in Iran who says the Strait of Hormuz is going to stay closed. You have the economy flailing, prices rising. You have a president falling asleep. You have the TSA shut down. They're not even shut down. They have to go to work and get paid for not going to work. You have the SAVE Act. Well, I have a little bit of good news. This is the breathing, the gasp of a failing empire, of a failing autocracy. If this autocracy was successful, they would not be needing to do these big dramatic things. They would not be needing to try to clamp down on your vote. They would not have this endless war in Iran. They would not openly admit the president's falling asleep in war meetings. These are the labored sort of screeches of an empire that has lost control even of itself. Which means that we, the proletariat, the working class, we have to be vigilant. Anyone in any kind of abusive relationship, a counselor will tell you, the most dangerous part of an abusive relationship is when it's time to end the relationship. And we're so close to ending our relationship with the Epstein class, with the billionaires, to ending our relationship with the corrupt political class, to finally getting something new. We're so close. We're so close to breaking up with that old system. But just like any breakup, the most dangerous part is when you try to leave. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But you can either stay and get abused, or you can get the fuck out. And so when a lot of people look at what's happening, they see doom, they see gloom, they see hopelessness. I see the working class packing their bags, getting ready for something new. I hope you do too. So don't be scared. Pack your bags. We can do this. This is March 12th, everyone. This has been a really great show. Please do follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Substack, wherever it helps. We'll see you back